And there I was the girl from Suits.
This one's wife. I am leaving. According to that library of unassailable truths known as Heat magazine, as he prepares to make a return to the United Kingdom, it seemed that the recent trip that Harry attended was problematic. This one's wife, of course, stayed in the United States with Archie and Lilibet rather than join Harry in the United Kingdom. But whilst many initially thought it was this one's wife putting her foot down and deciding that she would stay, apparently the idea for Harry going on his own actually came from Harry himself. Is this Harry throwing off the shackles of control by his handler? Is this Harry rebelling against the narcissist who controls much of what he does? Let's find out what else is written. Harry flew back to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games, which he founded in 2014. It was the Duke of Sussex's first visit since February, when he dashed over from the States for a brief reunion with his estranged father, King Charles, after finding out he'd been diagnosed with cancer, see parts passim. Harry also made a speech at a special service at St. Paul's Cathedral, and ordinarily he would be accompanied by his wife on all things Invictus. That didn't happen on this occasion. According to an insider, Harry feels that with Charles and sister-in-law Kate Middleton both having treatment for cancer, it's not the best time for the couple to show up together. Harry decided that it was better for this one's wife to stay in the United States when he visited the United Kingdom, insisting that her presence would cause too much angst, heartache, and stress for the family, says Heat source. Given the seriousness of Kate's condition, Harry was conscious that he didn't want to inflict any unnecessary stress on her. Now, let's pause there to determine, is this a legitimate stance? Well, it's certainly the case that Harry does care about his sister-in-law, although recent behaviours have been problematic because, of course, when it comes to a contest between his wife and his sister-in-law, he goes with what his wife says. For instance, when it came to a contest between his wife and his grandparents, he went with what his wife said. And in fairness to him, although you may think, well, that's rather spineless of him, it is frequently the case that victims of narcissists invariably go along with what the narcissist wants, rather than that of family or friends, for the simple reason they have learned that if they don't, their life is not worth living. Many individuals that I consult with find themselves in a difficult situation whereby they recognise that the individual who they suspect is a narcissist or they've had confirmed as a narcissist is behaving in a problematic fashion. They have friends and family who tell them you shouldn't put up with this behaviour, or this person's behaviour wasn't right, wasn't appropriate. But they feel caught in the middle. They know that their spouse is behaving badly, but they know that if they are deemed not to be supportive towards that spouse, their life will be made all the worse. The devaluing behaviour will be intensified. And they often feel like they can't do anything about it because they're invested in that person. They love them. They live with them. They've got shared finances, and particularly the issue of children. Accordingly, there are many victims of narcissists that know that their partner, their spouse, is behaving in a reprehensible manner, yet they still go along with it. Not necessarily because they're spineless, but because they know all too well what will happen if they try and speak out about it. It's potentially the case for Harry that he has been behaving in such a similar way up until this point. But has he suddenly grown a pair? Has he suddenly turned around and said, look, Megsy, you can't come because your presence will cause too much angst, heartache, and stress for the family? Somehow, I doubt it, for two reasons. The first, I still don't think that he would necessarily stand up to her to that extent. Yes, there will be occasions where he'll argue with her because of his strong narcissistic traits, but I don't think that he would actually turn around and say to her, I don't think you should visit because. And secondly, her own narcissism, as I've made clear on repeated occasions, still regards the United Kingdom as too hostile a place for her by virtue of a purportedly hostile press, hostile royal family, and hostile public. So simply, she will come up with an excuse as to why she can't attend or won't attend, because her narcissism tells her, you don't want to be going there, it won't work. You'll be booed. There'll be repeated criticism of you. And her narcissism as a self-defense mechanism wants to prevent her from being exposed to those threats to control. So I doubt that actually it's a case of Harry saying, look, I'm leaving without you, I'm going to go there and you can't come because you're going to cause too many problems for these people. It's more likely that once again, the decision is made by this one's wife. Nevertheless, he continues to tell us that Harry and Kate have enjoyed a good relationship in the past. Indeed, they have, with the prince previously describing her as the sister I've never had and always wanted. But since he and this one's wife stepped down as working royals and made damaging claims and accusations about his family, relations have remained strained. But it appears Harry is hoping to use his time to start to make amends. It was thought that Harry would want to try and visit William and Kate, but of course they are playing the straight bat with him. They know that because he's still under the control of his wife, that they can't be involved with him, that anything they will say to him will be passed to her and she'll make use of it. They also, of course, remain desperately displeased by his behaviour and conduct, again egged on by his wife, and therefore want nothing to do with him. It was originally the case that Harry was expected to stay in the United Kingdom for a week when he came. But of course we now know that it's a short visit and he's headed off to Nigeria. Originally, it was thought that he was going to have a boys' night out while he was over, but I suspect that has had the kibosh placed upon it as a consequence of the fact that he can't really find anybody to hang out with him because they've all generally reached the conclusion, you've turned into a wanker. We never hear from you. You say horrible things about your family. And when we've attempted to get in touch with you, you've not bothered to contact us. This, of course, is all as a consequence of his involvement with his handler, this one's wife. It is common for the victim of a narcissist to lose friends in this way. Firstly, because the narcissist controls the individual and monopolizes their time. And over time, those friends think, what's the point of trying to remain friends with him? He's never available. He's never up for doing anything because he always comes up with an excuse. Furthermore, it can often be the case that the victim behaves badly as a consequence of reduced emotional empathy towards those friends. So those friends end up thinking, do you know what? Forget it. I'm not going to bother with you. Thus, the suggestion from Heat was that it was Harry who was saying, I'm leaving, I'm off to the UK and you can't come with me. But I don't believe that that was accurate in the slightest, given the nature of the dynamic between the two. And once again, he would have wanted her to come with him. He would have wanted them to travel together, possibly even bringing the children. But once again, because she views the United Kingdom as hostile, she's decided, no, I can't possibly go there. You have to go on your own. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.